we almost sang along with you. We should just have done it. You knew all the words. I could see. So, by way of introduction, that's about it. I'm curious to see how the live stream thing goes, and Violet is working on that, and apparently she's really good at it. So we're going to trust and see what happens. So if you're not physically present, we hope that you'll watch and light a candle and remember someone that you may have lost, or just light a candle in hope. There's a lot of hope these days. The message is increasingly positive, and I'm so glad that that's something I can stand here and say. But now we want cheaper meds. So sometimes I do a song normally. I'll give it a shot. A little more of Broadway, but this one may not sound exactly like a Broadway song at first. So, on the day I was born, said my father, said he, I've an elegant legacy waiting for thee. 'Tis a rhyme for your lip and a song for your heart, to sing it whenever the world falls apart. Look, look, look to the rainbow, follow it over the hill and stream. Look, look, look to the rainbow, follow the fellow who follows a dream. Follow the fellow, follow the fellow, follow the fellow who follows a dream. 'Twas a sumptuous gift to bestow on a child, for the words of that song had my feet running wild. For you'll never grow old, and you'll never be poor, with a whippoorwill singing beyond the next moor. Look, look, look to the rainbow, follow it over the hill and stream. Look, look, look to the rainbow, follow the fellow who follows a dream. Follow the fellow, follow the fellow, follow the fellow who follows a dream. So I bundled my heart and I roved the world free, to the east with a lark, to the west with the sea. And I searched all the land and I scanned all the skies, till I found it at last in my own true love's eyes. Look, look, look to the rainbow, follow it over the hill and stream. Look, look, look to the rainbow, follow the fellow who follows a dream. Follow the fellow, follow the fellow, follow the fellow who follows a dream. Thanks. Thank you for indulging me in that. My dad, who was half Irish, probably looking down and going, "You should have done a lot better with that song." How about Renee come and tell us all about HIV Alliance, because you do so many things now all over this. I had a training there, 91 in Eugene, when we were doing more speaking in the schools. So I have a little relationship with you.
Well, Thank you. And I can say I'm more than half Irish, and I thought you did a great job with the song, so I can give that. So, well, thank you for having me tonight. I'm Renee. I'm the Executive Director at HIV Alliance, and I'm so glad that Bill invited us to come tonight. So our mission at HIV Alliance is to provide care to people living with HIV and to prevent new infections. But we look at that in a very holistic way because we know that for people living with HIV and for people at risk, you have to provide not only the HIV care, but the overall care to people. Focus on the overall health and wellness for individuals and address the social determinants of health. So housing and social support and access to treatment like addictions counseling like they do at On Track. These things are all important to a person's ability to take their HIV medications. So that's really our focus at HIV Alliance. We began over 25 years ago in Lane County, and that's probably when Bill first met some of us. But today we provide those services in over 14 counties. And we have an office here in Jackson County and a fantastic team that works with our community partners here like On Track to provide that care. We provide care to people living with HIV, over 1,200 folks throughout the region, and our team is made up of a variety of providers. So it's it's a team approach, really. So we have nurses, behavioral health specialists, we have pharmacists and dental providers, and then we also have folks who are patient navigators and case managers. We can help folks access insurance, so we have application assisters, we call them, and then employment specialists for folks who are ready to get back to work or obtain more gainful employment in the community. So that's our care coordinator team. Here in Jackson County, that team provided care to about 185 folks living with HIV last year. And a lot of the folks that we serve not only have HIV, but they are also living very close to the poverty level. They may experience challenges like addiction or mental health issues. And so our team approach really is to help folks with those barriers so that they can access treatment. Because like Bill said, when a person can access HIV treatment, they can become undetectable. They themselves can live a long, healthy life, and then they cannot transmit HIV to others. So that's incredible both on the care and prevention side. So that's what that team of folks works on with our participants. This year, about 110 of the folks utilizing our services were in need of emergency housing, so that is a growing need among the folks that we serve here in Jackson County. So in 2022, in response to that need, we are going to launch a new supportive housing program. We're very excited about the project. It'll be called the Oaks Program, and it will provide supportive housing to people living with HIV who are chronically homeless and have mental health and addiction issues as well. And the strategy will be very simple, provide folks with a safe place to be so that we can help them work on their other health goals. And that program will be provided by a team. Again, our approach is always a team, so we'll have a peer, a housing navigator, a nurse, and a behavioral health specialist who will visit with folks in their homes and in the community to really help them build the skills they need to be successful in housing and be successful with their HIV care. So we're really excited about that project coming in 2022. Another core service at HIV Alliance is prevention, because of course if you provide care without prevention, the need for care will always grow. So prevention is a key component of what we do. Here in Jackson County, one of the things that we are focusing on is access to what we call PrEP, or pre-exposure prophylaxis. So this is a highly effective HIV prevention medication, essentially using HIV medications to prevent the transmission of HIV. However, it's very underutilized, and it can be pretty challenging for folks to access. So Bill and I were talking earlier about the cost of medication and sort of lamenting that in all the time, Bill's been doing this for over 30 years. I've been at HIV Alliance for 20 years. And so much has changed, but one thing that has never changed is the cost of the medication. So lots of folks who want to utilize PrEP aren't sure how to get it, they can't afford it, they might not be insured, And so here in Jackson County, one of the services we offer is PrEP navigation, and that is meant to help people overcome those barriers. And our pharmacists can also provide consultation to providers in Jackson County who maybe want to help, they want to prescribe PrEP, but they're not sure where to get started. So our pharmacists can provide clinical consultation to those folks. Another part of our Jackson County team, and you're going to hear from a fantastic peer support specialist in a minute, but is peer recovery specialists. So HIV Alliance has a team of peer recovery specialists, and these folks work with people who are at very high risk for HIV because of their substance use issues. And they're often folks who are also unhoused or experiencing other challenges like mental health issues or other chronic conditions even. And the team works from a harm reduction approach. And that means that we really try to meet folks where they're at. So this is often on the street, in the community, in homeless camps. And we don't require folks to stop using drugs or to enter into treatment, but we do work with them on the goals they identify to be healthier. Sometimes that is just to reduce the amount of drugs that they're using. Sometimes that is to access housing. Those peers can also provide coaching and mentoring for folks. We can provide emergency housing assistance and even harm reduction interventions like syringe exchange and naloxone, which is the medication that reverses overdoses. So that is a fairly new project for us, but we're very excited. And that group of peers works very closely with On Track and all the providers there, so that when people are ready to access drug treatment, we can be a bridge to that service, because ultimately, if you are well in your addiction, you are going to be less at risk for HIV. So that is really the greatest prevention strategy for folks. So that's a little bit about some of the services at HIV Alliance. I also want to say that HIV Alliance is always looking for volunteers. And if anyone is interested in volunteering in our office down here, please check out our website and send us a message, and we'd be happy to have you come and do that. So I think that's all for HIV Alliance. Yeah. I guess I'll turn it over to Josh then, and yeah. Sure. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Josh Guerrero. I'll do my best here. English is not my first language. It's Spanish, and I joke around that I usually run out of English by the end of the week, but I think this week I didn't get my quota, but we'll do my best here. So it's an honor to be here. Thank you, Bill, for the invite. I'm a peer support specialist at On Track, bilingual. We work with Spanish and English clients over there. And I was honored and a great blessing to spend a year in Thailand with an HIV nonprofit there from the Good Shepherd, the Sisters of the Good Shepherd. They've been in Thailand since 1965, but in the region where I was volunteering, it's the northern border of Laos and Thailand, and they've been working there since 1981. They started with refugee programs back in the war, and it slowly developed into multiple programs. They have a huge compound where they do training centers for farming and agriculture. They have a women's center where they provide jobs for like sewing and like building clothes and things like that. Sewing, not suing. A child and youth program where they sponsor from 600 to 1,200 kids per year, not only through school, but also after school program, university and all that. And they have the Village Outreach Program, which that's where the HIV program started. So to talk a little bit more about HIV in Thailand, it's a huge problem over there because of the sex industry. So a lot of the people, when they're young, they take them from all these rural places and they send them to the bigger cities like Bangkok or Pattaya. And HIV is a big deal over there. There is a lot of taboo still around the topic, so not a lot of people have communication. They don't come out to get medicine. Usually they don't want their neighbors to know or their family members to know. So once they're in a really bad state and they get into a hospital, the hospital refers them to the program up north. The city is called Nong Khai. You can look them up as goodshepherdnongkhai.com. So as part of the compound that I was talking about, they have like a health center where they receive from, I would say, 60 to 200 patients at a time. It's, like I said, it's one of the most famous places in Thailand for HIV centers. So I don't know even how to go about this, but it's run by nuns. There's about 4 or 5 nuns in total. The rest of the people are local Thai that they work over there, and they've been referred even by the state or by colleges, and they go up there. I was a volunteer for a whole year. I was working with, they have a fair trade sort of program where once the women that go in there and they're actually better after their medications, they need some sort of employment. So they make these amazing handcrafts with saw paper or mulberry paper, and they have like postal cards and decorations for kids, and they sell them all throughout the world. They have a lot of clients that they bought in big bulks of orders. So my job there was helping them build that program up a little bit more. I helped them with a website, their production line, quality management, and anything that would help them get more income. That was part of my job there. So I also did activities with the patients. It was a volunteer house inside of the community, of the compound community. But I feel like the year that I was there, I received more than what I gave. I saw people walk into that compound where the doctors say they would probably never even make it 2 more weeks alive, where they would not be able to walk or talk. And 6 months after, with the proper care and medication, they were up and doing well. So it was amazing to be there and to experience that. Let me see what else I have to say about it. I would love if all of you can go on their website. Is Good Shepherd, Sisters of the Good Shepherd, Nong Khai. And yeah, check them out, see the amazing jobs that they're doing there. And yeah, that's all I have for today. So thank you for having me.
Early on, when I first started doing this work, I remember hearing all sorts of things about really revolutionary things that they were doing in Thailand because the problem was so extensive there. And they were one of the regions that proved that you could do effective prevention without a lot of resources. So it's interesting to have met someone who spent time among them. I want to say something that this is a little odd maybe, but to have a person Josh's age embrace this is really comforting to me, because as a gay person, you feel sometimes that the older of us who lived at the peak of the epidemic are kind of disenfranchised a little by the younger generation who don't even want to hear about it. And so it gives me great hope that there are people who want to hear about it and who want to do things about it. So that's me on a soapbox. Thanks for listening. And Renee, thanks for that. That's really great. The message that I keep hearing is that the people who are a little outside the mainstream, who are infected, respond best when there is some sort of case management, just somebody there who cares, and even to the extent that the literature keeps documenting that people are more adherent to their meds just because they have case managers. So it's a thing I think we'll always be seeing. this is going by so fast, so I think it's time to do the candle lighting part. And how this goes is, Reverend Kent will lead us in that. There's a little sort of song that we sing while the candles are being lit. How can anyone ever tell you you are anything less than beautiful? And I think Violet's going to put the word. No?
The people online
We'll see words. But you won't. Uh-oh. I'll try to lead you along. And we always end with Amazing Grace. It's just a tradition, and you do have words for that because everyone knows a little different version of it, I think. So I want to also take this moment just to thank everyone who did this and all the years that this has been such a good place for us to be on World AIDS Day. Through several different ministers, this congregation was always really welcoming and worked really hard to make people feel at home. And it doesn't matter how many people are here, it has deep meaning, I think, ripples out, you know. So.
I usually tell a story, and I have a reflection prepared. But I want to, since we have time, I want to tell you two other stories. One was when I was in New Jersey, and they were about to, they were about to reauthorize the Ryan White Care Act. I went to a meeting with Senator Frank Lautenberg, and one of the people, it was a small meeting, only about 10 or 12 of us, and one of the people there was a guy named Jim Oleski, who was a physician who discovered the first AIDS baby. And so Senator Lautenberg turned to Jim and said, so, you know, the reason you're here is to give me talking points and to help me support this reauthorization. So tell us what's going on, Jim. And Jim looked at him and he said, I'd love to tell you that we had some kind of major breakthrough, medical breakthrough, but the truth is people are living longer because of case managers. And so I've always, even as I've supervised a lot of case managers, those are the heartbeats that kept people alive and moved people forward. That's just one story. I have to tell my Thailand story, Josh. For about 3.5 years, I was on a team for my denomination, the United Church of Christ, and we would meet, I think, twice a year. And it had a representative from every board and agency in the denomination. And we would meet and share what we were doing about AIDS, HIV, and it was really kind of a brainstorming and cheer each other on kind of thing. And the guy from our global board of ministries was an old, amazing pastor named Lloyd Van Vactor. And Lloyd would come and he would say, these meetings are always so great and I learn so much from you. But AIDS doesn't really have anything to do with the global ministries. And we were all going, And after several meetings, he came and it was his last meeting before he retired. And he took almost an hour to tell us all of the stuff that the global missions were doing. And one of which was producing some prevention materials in Portuguese for some folks in Brazil. And one was, I've forgotten where the country was, but they were buying computer printers or copiers, desktop copiers, for the sex workers in some country, for them to print and reproduce materials. And then he got to the story about Thailand, and our missionaries over there had hooked up with connected with is a better phrase, connected with a group of sex workers in Bangkok and helped them produce these little They were little flower pots with pipe cleaners in them, and in the pipe cleaner thing were these condoms. And they would put them around in the bars and the restaurants and stuff for people to use. And there's this like about to retire congregational minister talking about buying colored condoms to hand around in Bangkok. I'll never forget it. It was fun. How many of you recently have said, I can't wait till we return to normal? And the problem is we don't know what normal is yet. And normal is probably not going to be like what it was, which is kind of scary. And I was thinking about one of my friends, when I was the director of the AIDS Interfaith Network of New Jersey, was a man named Mel Rosen. And Mel was the first director of the Gay Men's Health Crisis in New York City. And he was just a dear, sweet friend, and he would go around and do educational programs with me in synagogues. And one time I called him because somebody had wanted to schedule a presentation and asked him if he would come and help me. And he said, "Oh, Larly, you know I don't buy any green bananas." A dark humor way of saying I can't plan that far ahead. And I learned a lot from Mel and others how some of that dark humor kept people going. But I realized for a lot of us, we don't buy any green bananas. We can't plan our vacations. We can't plan to go be with our families. We can't. I mean, I had a conversation with a man today who wants to do a memorial service for his wife. And I said, I can't tell you if we can use the sanctuary or if we're going to be around. I don't know. I can't. And that's really stressful. And it's really hard. And I had another image of kind of what normal was. Just before everything shut down from COVID, I was visiting I have a daughter and her family who live in San Francisco, and or they did then. And we were at a restaurant in the Castro district. It's one of their favorite places. And I've been there several times. And the food was taking a long time, and I don't know. I just wanted to go outside and have a break, and there was a little bench out there. And I was just sitting there on the street, and I was watching, and all these people were walking by, and it was like old people and young people and gay couples and straight couples and various people with children and, you know, a rainbow of colors. And I just started weeping, and I didn't know why. And I thought, this is so normal, you know. And the last time I hung out in the Castro district, everybody was emaciated and pitiful. And I mean, and I thought, so there is something after this. There's stuff that we learn out of this. There's ways that we change out of this. And, you know, being a pastor, I'm in the hope business. I think we'll find a new normal, and it won't be the same. But it will be life-giving, and it will be important. And at least for me, I've learned a lot of lessons from all those people for all those years I worked with who had AIDS, and I'm grateful for them. And I'm grateful for all of you. I was listening to you, Renee, and thinking two things. One, I'm really glad you chose to spend your World AIDS Day with us. But the other was I was the director of client services at Nashville Cares for a long time, and we serviced 15 counties in Tennessee, and with all of that. And I thought, oh, glad I don't do that anymore. And I'm grateful for you. And I'm grateful for all of you. And I'm grateful that this is a church, and this is a time, and this is a people who remember. And it's important that we remember for our sake and for the sake of people we love. As with anything that's gone on for about 30 years, we have some rituals in this commemoration. We used to, I don't think we did this the last time or two. We used to write whatever you wanted to write on a piece of paper, and we would burn it. And I would have an attack of serious anxiety lighting a bowl of stuff in our sanctuary. So I said, we're not going to do that, but we can light candles. And so we light candles, and I'm going to invite you in a moment to make a circle. Maybe we can make it inside the ring of chairs since there's few enough of us, and be as close as you feel comfortable. And I'm going to start the candle lighting, and there's a process for this, which is if your candle is being lit, the one that is lit is like this. No, which way is it? I'm now backwards. Huh? The new one turns. Okay. So if I hold the candle, the lighter, you turn the unlit one into it. Thank you. So you don't drip the wax. That's right. So we don't drip wax everywhere. So I'm going to invite you to do that. And as we're lighting the candles, Bill is going to lead us in that just beautiful song. And when everybody's candle is lit, we'll just kind of like be like the Taizé community. We'll sing it until we're done singing it. And then Mark is going to play, and we'll sing Amazing Grace, and I will bless us out the door. So I invite you now to get in a circle. And Bill, you're going to come and sing.
Okay, start. How can anyone ever tell you you are anything less than beautiful? How can anyone ever tell you you are less than whole? How can anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How can anyone ever tell you you are anything less than beautiful? How can anyone ever tell you you are less than whole? How can anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. I think so.
So let's blow out our candles and sing Amazing Grace.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved us far, and grace will lead me home. And leave me there 10,000 years, like shining as the sun. We'll find our ways, sing God's praise, and when first
I'm going to bless us out the door with the blessing that I use every Sunday with my church. It was written by William Sloane Coffin, who was the pastor at the Riverside Church in New York for a long time. So go from this place with the grace to never sell yourself short, the grace to be able and willing to risk something big for something good, the grace to remember that the world is too dangerous for anything but the truth and too small for anything but love. So go in love and peace. Amen.